Hey everybody, sorry about that. This is Grace. I want to talk about something I've been thinking about recently. And I did a video about this kind of thing not too long ago, just recently really. And it's something that I have seen over and over and over again. And especially more recently. But no, actually I can't even say it's just over and over again. And it's something the other day, it just got to me, where I started thinking, people who are these very narcissistic, very histrionic and sadistic. I call that the dramatic dark triad, not the dark triad, which is narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. But this is, no, it's more like narcissism, like I just said, narcissistic behaviors, histrionic behaviors, and sadistic behaviors. And you can make it the dramatic dark tetrad and add Machiavellianism to it. I've seen it. I've been thinking more and more about that. How this is what I have seen in my life repeatedly, and how they it's the same pattern. I mentioned the pattern of how they draw people in, but then what happens when they draw people in, like they're the mean girls, or the top dog kind of person. And I think I mentioned that eventually it's like the people who start to get it, that they're really just fake. They go away, and it's lather, rinse, repeat. They draw more people in, but there's more to it than that. Okay. And as I mentioned before, it's basically they learn to give people what they want to hear, how they want to see it. It's a commonality. And sorry about that. I have an alarm that went off on my phone, but shouldn't have. But anyway, and it's like a group narcissism. The people, some would call them flying monkeys. They were looking for someone who, like I said, just telling them what they want to hear, and they have that commonality, and they have that solidarity, and it's a group or collective narcissism. They believe that their views are right and everybody else's in the world is wrong. They're wrong on everything. That they, if they disagree with them, they're wrong. They have a problem, when it's usually quite the opposite. So, and some people will call these flying monkeys, like think Wizard of Oz. These are the people who will protect that person. Say, that narcissistic person. They'll protect that person. Go off and do all their bad bidding and whatever it is that they're going to protect, until, again, like I said, some of them will start to see the light, but many of them won't. So, but what about that narcissistic, histrionic, sadistic, whatever blend person? What happens with them over time? And like I said, it's kind of a bit of a lather, rinse, repeat for them. It's usually once they get to a certain point, when they have drawn in enough people, they start to, as I said, they start spiraling out of control. Okay, some would say they gain some kind of confidence from all this. So many people listening to them, and just seeing them as someone they should glorify, and think that this person is just so wonderful, and that they start to get what, like I said, some would think it's confidence, but it's not really confidence, because these are people who really, it's one of the criterion in the DSM for narcissistic personality disorder. I'm not diagnosing anybody, but it's basically that they want and expect people to, that not all of them do this, to give them some kind of like credit, to look at them like that, when they haven't really achieved what it is behind it. Quite often, I've done so many videos over these years, what they do is they steal other people's ideas, and they make them as though they're their own, but they don't have any background behind it. It's just that they go and take and take and take what sounds good to them from other people. So they really don't have the knowledge or anything behind it. So in other words, they're fake, and eventually that will come out, like I said, to some people, and they realize that, they know that, and there's so many reasons why they start to spiral out of control, just trying to keep up with all their lies, all the fakeness, all the, these are master manipulators, but trying to keep up with all that's a problem for them. What have they said to this person or that person, or what have they said at all? And like I said, there's so many reasons why they can start to spiral out of control, and some of it, could be that they become so arrogant. This clouds behind me look pretty bad. I don't know if you heard that thunder, but they really start to spiral out of control. And like I said, the term I want to use is, I don't know if people even use this anymore. It's kind of old-fashioned, but it's not confidence. They're too cocky. They become very cocky. Okay, so sure of what they're saying, even though at the same time they know they don't know what they're saying, and they have told so many lies, and they fake so much that I think this is one of the reasons they start to spiral out of control, because they just keep going with it. But as I was saying, some of these people, some of their former flying monkeys, they start to see the light, like they may have taken something from someone, stole somebody's idea or somebody's view or somebody's persona, something about another person, and somebody starts to see it, or it just doesn't go along with the whole mentality, I guess, or the way they view it, and they don't realize it. Okay, this happened to me recently. Not to me, I didn't steal somebody's idea, but somebody stole mine and didn't realize how they were humiliating themselves, because their base is not going to like what they said. They just didn't know. They don't have the knowledge behind all of it to do that. Yeah. Okay, the weather got too bad. Had to come in. So then maybe I can get back on track here instead of being, distracted by that weather. It was getting bad. But basically that's what they do. They get all this, they get too cocky, and they start going into areas they shouldn't have, or they start attacking other people because they want to be the top dog, the queen bee, the top of the line, and they don't have the backing, the background. But they start attacking others. These are the type that think that in order to win anything, they have to step on somebody else to lift themselves up. Okay, they don't think about improving themselves. They think about just stomping on somebody else. Okay, and usually what they do is they start off by, like I said, stealing people's ideas. People who aren't as well known or as popular as whatever, they see them as less than, and they don't deserve those ideas, or they don't deserve any notoriety. Those other people. But then these narcissistic types, they get more cocky, like I said, and then they might start trying to do it with people who are bigger, and they don't have the background, and the people who are bigger, more popular, more whatever, they start to get ticked off. They see it. Somebody lets them know. And that's when they're spiraling out of control. They start to think, oh, I can take from everybody now. I've learned how to do it. I know how to improve this way, and they just think it's free for them to do. And they get knocked down. Okay? They've spiraled out of control, just went everywhere, with it. And they get knocked down. That bigger person isn't going to allow it. And they send their flying monkeys out. But they do this repeatedly, lather, rinse, repeat. And they get knocked down, they come back up, they start back up, Slowly they do this, they get to a point, and they're knocked back down. Just over and over and over again. Okay, now, no two people do the same thing exactly the same. I have seen some of them that they get to that point and they're very cocky, and they're starting to spiral. They start to spiral out of control because they realize what they've done in the past didn't help them as much as they thought it would. Okay, for whatever they were trying to gain, often it's money, but sometimes it's just attention, and they're not getting the kind of attention they want, or they just keep wanting more and more, and it just kind of gets to a point where, like I said, some of the flying monkeys, they see what's going on, and they leave, and it's just rather they never get past that point because too many people start to realize it, and then they have to gain more, and they never get as high as they want. Okay, and all that they have done to other people, like I said, they say it's not panning out. It's not working out for them. It's not getting them all that they had thought that they would achieve, because they think, they spend a lot of time thinking about, some of them thinking about how they're going to get this fame, fortune, whatever it is, they fantasize about that they're going to achieve, and they don't. Okay, so then some of it might be that they spiral out of control because they try so many different things, and none of it works.